Hello everyone. This is a quick demonstration of the process of creating a virtual exhibition in Adobe XD. I'm Max van Belgoy, Assistant Professor in the Museum Studies program at George Washington University. At first, this can be a daunting assignment because if you've never done it before, there's a lot to keep track of. So it might help if you think about a virtual exhibition as a combination of a website and a museum exhibition. In an exhibition, each major idea is physically separated into sections. In a website, each major idea is separated on a different page. There are several distinct advantages of a virtual exhibition, so keep these in mind as you build yours to take advantage of them. First, just like an exhibition in a museum, you can add objects, documents, maps, and photographs to not only use as illustrations, but to engage the reader and as evidence to support your ideas. Secondly, you can easily make connections between people, objects, and places so that readers understand the relationships and bigger picture. Third, readers have more flexibility to explore topics that interest them and are not restricted to reading from beginning to end, from right to left, or from the start to the end of the exhibition. And finally, virtual exhibitions can be easily updated, reach a broader audience, and be available far longer than a physical exhibition. So there's great value in learning how to create virtual exhibitions. And again, this is just a quick introduction to get you started. Once you learn the basics, there are lots more you can do with Adobe XD to make virtual exhibitions more engaging and meaningful. I'm assuming you've already scanned the instructions for this assignment so that you're familiar with the deliverables, specifications, and submission requirements, so I'm not going to repeat them here. The first step is assembling all of the elements you need for your interpretation. We previously discussed that interpretation consists of three core elements: audiences, content, methods, and formats. In this assignment, you have a choice of 4 audiences, which are ones you will typically encounter at historic sites and house museums. Your choice will affect everything else because different audiences have different interests, motivations, and knowledge, and that will affect your choices for the content. But we haven't discussed audiences much in this course, but we do in other courses, and you'll find some readings to get you started in the syllabus based upon your choice. The second element is content and resources. We've been working all semester on this, so this is where you've identified your themes, relevant images, maps, and documents, and prepared the history of your theme using a story structure. Bring together all your content and resources in a central location on your folder, on your computer, and that could be one big folder that contains everything, or you create a folder for the projects that's filled with subfolders. It's up to you how you want to organize your content and resources. By the way, these are called assets that are collected in libraries in Adobe XD. The third piece is methods and formats. For this assignment, it's a virtual exhibition created in Adobe XD. So now that you have all the 3 pieces put together and figured out, for step 2, sketch your plan for your virtual exhibition. Sketching out ideas is a very common process in creative work, although it may be called by different names. Writers use outlines or mind maps, exhibition designers create diagrams and models, and videographers prepare thumbnails and storyboards. Use any and all of these sketching techniques to develop and organize your virtual exhibition. By the way, in Adobe XD, they call sketching a wireframe. In these instructions, I provide a framework for your final virtual exhibition. As you can see, it has a home page and then several related pages to structure your ideas. Your virtual exhibition needs 2 themes and a timeline presented in a total of 8 to 13 pages. Each theme will have several pages, but you will need to decide how many. If you are starting out, my advice is to follow the story structure and have 1 page that sets the stage and your protagonist's goals, the second presents a conflict or an obstacle, and the final page provides a conclusion. Of course, you can have more pages, but it's typically difficult to do fewer than that, fewer than 3. The third step is to prototype the design in Adobe XD. Let me open up XD so you can follow me from the start, and I'll explain how you might begin with a simple virtual exhibition. Let's imagine I'm going to create a virtual exhibit on Stephen Decatur and the cult of masculinity. So open up a new project in XD, and you'll want to choose Web 1920. That's a standard web size. And I'm going to change the title of this page or artboard to homepage. So I remember this is where I'm going to start off with. And in my sketch, I had some idea of how I want this to look. Of course, I'm going to refine it later, but let's just sort of get started. First, let's put the title up on the page. And the working title is going to be The Cult of Masculinity, Stephen Decatur and the New Nation. And then I need to get my credits or production details on here. So I'm going to have my name, the course number and title, George Washington University, and the date. Now I can click on these and select the text and click and drag, and on the right side I can choose what that text is going to look like. So I'm going to make this larger because it's the title and it's the first thing I want people to see. I'm going to jump it up quite a bit, and then I think it also needs to be in a bolder typeface. There we go. That's a good start, and I can move it around, get it where I want. So I want to push it over there a little more, and I want to get these lined up, and you can see that XD shows you when things are lined up and how far apart they are in that number. So next I'm going to grab a photo that I like of Stephen Decatur. It's a nice oil painting from the 1860s, long after he died. He's looking straight at you, so I thought that was nice and dramatic. Really big, grabs your attention kind of photo on a home page. But you'll see that it covers up my title, which isn't good. So I need to move that forward. I need to bring that to the front, and you can do that by right-clicking on the text and then choosing Bring to Front. But that's still hard to read, so I'm going to put a box behind all this. You get the rectangle tool and create a box. It's a nice crop for Stephen Decatur. And I'm going to, instead of white, I want another color. Now you can just pick colors lots of different ways. You can just pick right from the board, and you can then use the sliders to move up and down the spectrum. And you can also adjust the transparency. But I like always pulling colors from the image, and you can use that eyedropper tool and find a color you like. And this is a little too dark, so I'm going to go back in and increase it because I want the type to really stand out, but the color will still be related to the painting. So now the text is still hidden behind everything. So these are all layers. So again, I've got to move things backwards. There's the title, but I've lost my credit information, so I'm going to keep going back until it eventually shows up. There it is. But now the picture is too big, so I'm going to select the picture and then send it to the back. And now everything should line up just perfectly. So there we go. That's the beginning of my home page. This color's bothering me. It's a little too not enough contrast. So I'm going to change the fill. And again, I'm going to use the eyedropper tool. I use this a lot and pick a color again from the painting. That's a lot darker. And that looks a lot better to me. Let's just check. Click off on the object. There we go. All right. So that's a good start. I'm going to move this down, get this into shape. I'm going to keep tweaking this and playing around with the type sizes and colors and typefaces until I get it sort of where I want it. And that's what's nice. You're doing a sketch, and now in XD you can actually take your sketch and ideas and refine them as you move along. To lay out the pages for your project, let's use the framework that I provided in the instructions. So we're going to take, sort of step back, zoom out, and I'm going to do this the sort of slow step-by-step way. There's always shortcuts, as you can see, with each of these. But for now, if it's your first time, let's just do it one step at a time. Then we're going to add more pages or artboards, and we're going to pick that up. And again, it's going to be 1920. And we're going to use the arrow tool, pick this up, and then move it to follow the framework. Lay it out the way I had it on the framework so that each theme or content area is arranged below it in a hierarchy. That'll help you organize this better. And then I'm going to keep adding artboards. And notice that they get added to the right side of the previous artboard. Now I'm going to select 3 of them to make copying easier, and I'm going to copy and paste, and you'll see it popped over to the left. I'm going to move it into place again below the others, and each time you do this you'll see that these purple magenta colored bars appear between them. That tells you that they are equally spaced. So now I've got 9 pages here, and to make it keep track of what I'm looking at, I'll write in and identify which ones are the themes and which pages, and which is the timeline and which is the source and the credit. So for theme 1, I have pages 1, 2, and 3. Theme 2, pages 1, 2, and 3. That's exactly what you're seeing me write in here. And then one of the nice things, you can make the pages as long as you want. So I think the timeline is going to be longer, so I'm just going to extend it. And that dotted blue line tells you what you can see on the screen at any one time. So let's back out and see the whole thing on the screen. And here it is, the whole layout for your entire project. To move between the pages, let's create some simple buttons that indicate where viewers or readers can go next, where they can explore. And just like before, we're going to use the rectangle tool, and we're going to pick a color. You'll see here that I'm playing around with colors that might work, and that I'm rethinking what I'm doing. It's very easy. You can just move around and pick a different color, and we'll create a bunch of buttons using copy and paste. And do notice that the button that's active is highlighted with these little dots in the corner, so you know exactly which one you're dealing with. I'm selecting all 3 now because I really don't like this color, so I'm picking another one that looks a little better. And I also want to make the text on it legible, so I'm decided to go with a lighter color. And go get the text tool and drop in text to identify what each of these buttons are. Right now I'm just going to put in placeholders, and then I'll change them later. And I'll just get them arranged, and I'll show you how you can arrange the text in these boxes. You can see once you get it centered, it will have these lines that indicate that you're where you are in terms of distance and that you're smack dab in the middle. Then I'll make the adjustment. So again, this is theme 2, and then this is going to be the timeline. Now, if these don't quite line up, there are, it doesn't look so off center, but you can try using the centering tool here in the text area, but that may not give you the look that you want. Look way at the top, and you'll see alignment. You can play around with these. They do all kinds of alignment tricks, including aligning in the center all 3 boxes or all 3 pieces of text, whatever you were trying to align, either vertically, horizontally. It'll space them and do all kinds of stuff. So that's it on buttons. To connect pages, you'll want to have some beginning text or images on each of your pages so that you can keep track of what you're doing and how they might connect. You can even, I'm just copying and pasting information I have on Stephen Decatur's military service, but you can just use placeholders like this is theme 1, page 2, just to get things organized. But having some buttons in place is handy. So I'm just going to draw some buttons here. So this is theme 1, page 2, and I'm just going to really quickly draw some buttons in with some text, and this is very quick and dirty. Pick your color. That's too dark. Here's a better one. Pop in some text. You always want a button that has people get back home to the home page. Otherwise they get lost. And now I'm centering it. There we go. And I'm going to copy this with its text. Copy and paste. Drag it over into place. And I'm going to put in a button that goes to the next page. Okay, so now we got buttons on that page. And I'm going to show you that I have already made some buttons on this, and I'm going to go to, here's the fit all. You can see the 2 pages I've developed. And if I go to the prototype tab and scroll over, you'll see all of these links that I've already connected between existing buttons and pages. Let me show you how to do that on page 2. If you watch, you'll see there's a blue arrow pops up, and you just click and drag to the page you want to go to. This is going to go to page 2, so you just click and drag, and there it makes those connections. It's that easy. Now if you want to see how this actually works, if it works, you want to test all your links, you're going to go from prototype all the way over to the right to play. And now you get a, just sort of click, it's magic. So that's how you create it. This is not going to go to a page, but when you're finished, just hit the close button, the red button in the corner,